Mexipino family, what's poppin'? Before we start this podcast with our good friend Anthony Midas, we just want to tell you about our good sponsors, Tap Tap Send. If you don't know by now, Tap Tap Send is your favorite remittance app because it's ours, so it should be yours. And you'll be able to send money over to the Philippines and Mexico for literally zero fees, my friends. Make sure you download the Tap Tap Send app today. Make sure your cousins download the Tap Tap Send app today. And then when you use code Mexipino, you will get $20 that you can send for the free over to your family in the Philippines or Mexico. It's super easy. Why wouldn't you want to send them free motherfreaking money? All right, make sure you download that Tap Tap Send app today, and make sure that you enjoy this podcast with our good friend Anthony Midas. He is a Mexipino DJ based out of San Francisco, California. That's a lie. He's not based out of San Francisco, California. He's just based out of the Bay Area. You feel me? Got a little bit of flavor in that introduction. So hope you enjoy this podcast, and let's get to it.
I always wanted to see what this looked like live.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's fun, man. I mean, I've had a couple of these things for years now. That's just newly built, and we're here. And we just have this new orange wall. And we officially have our first guest who is blessing the new orange wall. Anthony Midas in the building.
Ooh.
Know what I mean?
You didn't even do the intro.
Kamusta na kayo?
Hola, hola.
Hey.
Well, we're just gonna pile them all. We're gonna pile up all that stuff for the intro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good. Welcome, Anthony Midas, everybody. What's good, bro?
Thank you, man. I mean, we just finished Cozy. Thank you so much for being a part of that, by the way.
Bro. Oh my
Insane.
God.
Oh
my
my
God.
How fun, come on, how fun is it though? Like and we talked about it too, from the first party that you spun and you guys attended to
Yeah.
LA.
It's been such a I think the growth of Cozy has been so fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I told Nico, I think you're at what, 12,000 on Instagram now for Cozy?
I check it almost every day. I think we're at 23.1.
23. Well, I remember I told Nico, I was all like,
Something
I remember
crazy.
when you hit 10K, I was like Midas just hit 10K on this. I'm like, this is going absolutely insane. And the
Yeah.
fact that you're going to New York to throw these parties, it's truly like
Yeah, why don't you give everybody a background about what Cozy is, bro?
Yeah, so Cozy
And speaking
is,
to the mic.
yeah, so
You can bring it closer to you. There we go. There we go.
Am I coming
That's
in
good.
okay?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Where do I look at, by the way? Do I look like...
No, you can look at us.
wherever.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
good.
cool.
You're good.
Yeah, so Cozy is an R&B party, which actually, very fun fact for everyone listening to this, is something that Nico was a part of when I first ideated it together. So we always
I
talked.
remember that.
we were
That's
sitting
hella
there.
funny.
We were sitting there talking about some parties we can do, and I was like, man, it would be a really cool name for an R&B party. It'd be called Cozy. And I remember the early days we were talking about oh yeah, people can have pillows at their tables, and I was like, yeah, and the bottle girls can wear sleepwear or something, and I'm like, okay, continuing to
Just entertain it. Yeah.
yeah, so it's fun. But yeah, Cozy is an R&B party that, is really focused on the whole vibes of nostalgia, songs we all grew up to, 90s, 2000s, even current R&B. And it's just, a place where people can just have a great time and sing along.
A place for people to be cozy. That's
I
it.
literally feel because you say a nostalgia, and it's so wild to me that the songs that we grew up with are now considered nostalgia songs, and it's just kind of shit.
Oh my God, I feel old as hell, right? I'm not going to name any names, but we have a friend, and she was born a little in the 2000s, right? And so it was funny when you were playing One Wish yesterday.
Oh, yes.
So you played One Wish, and literally I'm looking at everyone singing this shit, and then she's looking at us, and we're just
And she's quiet. She's like, I have no idea what the hell's going on right now. And yeah, and then Nico, I think, asked her, do you not know this song? She goes, I don't know this song.
She's like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Way.
One Wish by Ray J. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Hold on, does she know who Ray J is?
I don't think so.
I want to say she knows who Ray J is, because he's in the antics. He does his antics, but
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm like, wow, I feel old as hell right now. That's why whenever I go to these R&B parties, and especially Cozy, I'm like, okay, it's good because I know the crowd that's gonna be there. It's
Yeah.
gonna be around like mid-20s, 30s, and up. So I know exactly what to play, and I know how long I could play all these fucking songs for.
Honestly, it's funny. You could have kept going. Like, you were killing it, and I just remember you're like, oh yeah, one of the DJs dropped out. Like, we need someone to play like longer. Can you do it? You're like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, it's an R&B party. Like, no, actually, I forget what song you were playing, but like, you were absolutely killing it. And I came up there and I was like, dude, Nico, you're killing it right now. And you're like, put me at an R&B party, bro, and that's all I'm gonna do. And I was like, yes, you fucking.
No,
yeah.
I like Nico the way that he spends, especially like with R&B, and not like just hyping up because he's my boyfriend, but like he is really fucking good. And then like you guys, I think back to back, you guys are just literally the perfect duo for an R&B.
It's unstoppable, bro. Like, you know, sometimes I'll have this like feeling of like, I don't know what I could play still, especially because, you know, I'm always DJing the clubs, and that's usually like 21-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
But bro, I think you were playing Alicia Keys last night all the way through, and I was like, oh my God, this is magical. This is great.
And like, that's the cool thing about Cozy itself is that you play songs you normally can't play. Like, we're so used to playing like all the newest like hype tracks and like, you know, city girls up, you know, type stuff, and like it's fun, but you also kind of miss like, man,
Just
there's songs that we listen
relaxing.
to. Yeah,
Like-
like I'm looking at your thing, I see XG up there, and you know what I mean. Like, Cozy's a place where, you know, I've played like XG, New Jeans, and like it goes up because people are so
lit.
open-minded.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like a cool and calm space. Like, it's not like after you like go to a Cozy, you want to fight someone outside type of thing, you know?
And I
It's
just heard
like-
Alicia Keys right now. That made
and
me
I'll
so
fuck
mad.
somebody
I see
else.
fucking pillow fights outside.
Yeah, mine got you, and it's going down tonight.
I'm fucking sick. But like, I think it's a really dope like idea that, you know, you came up with, and then it's now executed, and it's just fucking insane. Because also too, like, this isn't what you went to school for too.
No, not at all. Like, for anyone listening, like, I graduated with a master's in biology.
Shut the
biology?
fuck up.
Biology, I swear to God, my
Wait,
under-
but you work in tech.
I know. That's just literally the epitome of who I am. Like, I am just all over the place. Like, I graduated with molecular biology. I wanted to be a pharmacist. Studied and was like a apprentice for a pharmacist. I didn't like it. I was like, I can't do this. And I looked at them. I'm like, you're not really that happy. I know you're making a lot of money, but like, let's be real. This job is not meant for a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I said, like, you know what? I don't want to get a job in biotech, so let me elevate my career and get a master's. And then during that transition, I was like, damn, a master's ain't cheap. Like, I need to have a job still and work.
God
And that's when I got
damn.
into tech, because I've been doing sales my whole life, and tech sales was just, my friends are in it. They talk about the culture and like working in tech sales and just how free it is. Like, I mean, like even right now, like hopefully my boss isn't watching this, but I work remotely. So I get to do parties. I get to DJ out of town because as long as I log into my laptop at 8 a.m. and finish up by 5 or 6, and
You're good to
happens
go.
after that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good luxury to have, bro, because ever since the pandemic, I'm like, dude, like, I don't really want to be like tied down to a spot, but like, you know, it's good for Jackie because Jackie still has that flexibility to do what she wants, like before and after work, and a little bit during too. And people like us too, it's like we have the flexibility to like be in a different country, be in a different city, and still get our work done and still do whatever we want too.
Yeah, I think as like creatives, it's just easier in a way to be your own boss. But
Yeah.
it's harder still because you are your own boss. And you're like, fuck. Well, if I want to make money, then I got to do something.
Yeah. It's harder financially for sure, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
you can't pay for liberation, you know? You can't pay for
important
freedom.
Now, that's important. Like, when I think of being like set, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
it's being able to wake up and do what you want to do and be okay with that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was actually talking to one of my previous coworkers who actually is a DJ as well, DJ DeVere, and
Yeah.
you know, he doesn't work in tech anymore, and he just talks about he's DJing full time, and he's like,
I love
it
that.
feels so good to like not wake up and open a blue screen and figure you have to be here at the certain time, whatever it is. Like he creates a schedule, like kind of what you're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You basically create your paycheck.
Yeah.
Do you want to work a lot? Do you want to make a lot of money, or do you kind of want to like, maybe take it easy this week, whatever it may be? So you have a little bit more flexibility and control. But that to me is like financial freedom, is being able to still make money and do what you want to do, but have that ability to like, play with your dog, hang out with your significant other, like just be happy sometimes just doing nothing,
It's funny, man. It's funny that you talk about scheduling, because the way I schedule my life right now, right? Like I'll wake up around 8 on a really bad day. I'll wake up at like 9:30, right? But then I'll walk Benny. Afterwards, I get straight to work, right? So I start either making some content, producing some music, doing whatever I need to do throughout the day, some radio stuff. But I've been very strict about ending around 6, 7 o'clock, because that's when Jackie gets home from work too. And it was this Eminem clip that just stuck out to me like for years now, where he literally will stop a session at like 12, have his lunch, and then by 5 o'clock he's out the door. And the reason why he does that is because he was like, well, it's a work-life balance. I'm still putting in 40 hours of work on music throughout the week, but I'm maximizing my time during those 40 hours. So then afterwards, he has time to spend with his family and whatnot. So I'm taking that same thing where I'm just like, okay, cool. Like I'm not going to be working 16 hours out of the day on music. Like that's just going to fry my brain. So, I have time to spend with Jackie. I have time to spend with Benny, talk to my parents, her family and whatnot.
Yeah. I feel like once you get, because you guys, I know the way that you guys, I think this is how you guys met, was because of like, the where you guys used to work.
Yeah.
And I think in that time, like you were working like 16-hour days, and it was just fucking brutal. And I can only imagine, if I could see it from Nigo's end, you were also managing another like club. Yeah. So it's just like, it's insane to me that like at that point it's kind of like, okay, I just need to pick my happiness because I need to be my own boss, which is fucking insane.
It is. And it's just true. Like you can still overdo something that you love. Like, don't get me wrong. Like working those long hours, like I love DJing, I love the nightlife, I love the industry and everything that it has to offer. But 16 hours a day is just not healthy to do anything.
Exactly.
Name something you can do for 16 hours a day, but like this is cool. Like sleeping's not good to do that. Like,
Eating's not good.
Like you're not gonna feel good. So no, I totally feel that, and like it's really good to see. And actually I feel like I noticed that too. I feel like somehow that's either come out of a conversation or you talked about that, but like ending your day to spend time with your significant other, like that creates the boundary. Because like, I think in the future too, when I have a family, I don't want to be known as the person that's never there or like doesn't set time for them.
Yeah.
Like, and that again, that goes back to the financial freedom thing. Like I want to be able to have a career or a job that allows me to like still spend time with the people I care about. So no, 100% feel that.
Yeah, you got to feel cozy at the end of the day.
Always.
You know what I mean? We're just going to keep on plugging cozy throughout the entire podcast.
Literally, as you were talking right now, I looked at your sweater. I was like, I wonder what it says. I was like, oh, wait, it says cozy. I'm like, because I'm also blind right now. I don't have my glasses, so I really can't see anything.
1-800-GET-COZY if you ever need it.
Right. So, Midas, like, it's crazy because I feel like over the past year alone, you've just been going absolutely insane with your content, and I'm super happy for you, bro. That was an applause, by the way.
Love it.
And so, I don't want to call it an overnight success, however. So I want you to talk about like, how you started DJing and your journey, because you've been DJing for a long fucking time, bro.
Yeah, I don't even really think I know your story on how you started DJing.
Yeah.
I mean, I just literally met you through Nico, and that's how I know you. So for all I know, you've been DJing for like 4 years, but probably been doing it for like fucking 12.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
So I actually have been, I consider myself DJing for a long time. It's been actually 10 years exactly. So 2013 was my first club gig, when I count that as a DJ. Yeah, I'm aging myself clearly. But yeah, I started DJing. Actually, funny, LA still holds like a pretty special place for me, because when I really wanted to be a DJ was actually when I went to EDC for the first time in 2010.
And I was here.
Yeah, it was the last one in the Coliseum. And I remember like I was never into EDM. I was very much growing up with hip hop, and you know, I think the closest thing I got to EDM was freestyle music when my parents listened to that growing up.
Yeah.
But still wouldn't count that as like actual EDM. And then I went, and I remember it was the transition from Swedish House Mafia to Cascade to Deadmau5, which is so crazy to say that like
That lineup.
that lineup doesn't even happen at
Yeah.
all anymore. But I remember I was so in awe with like how they commanded that entire Coliseum, and I was like, that is so fucking cool. I want to do that. So I went to my fraternity house, and like I bought a little controller. It was like a Mix Track Pro. It was like $150, and I'm just mixing in a room, making like these hardcore like house EDM edits, which I should share with you. I still have it.
Oh, please,
my
dude,
God.
And
please.
I'll debate if I want to put that publicly, but like it's so funny because like, you know, as when you first mix, like, you know, it's not your best, but
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
so proud of it. But yeah, I started doing fraternity parties, and you know, we got tired of the whole iPod thing, so we're like, hey, you bought a controller, let's just DJ your parties. And then, you know, next thing I knew, I was DJing other people's parties, and then one of my friends in my fraternity was a promoter. And he's like, hey, I'm doing this Thursday night at Temple in San Jose. Like, can you spin? And I was like, gladly. And ever since then, like, that's when
That's
it took
insane.
off.
That's lit, man.
Yeah. And like, since then, you know, like I've been able to do a lot of clubs, and, you know, for some portion too, like I felt that DJing hit its ceiling, you know, like I thought like, you know, dang, like I'm not really getting booked out of town. Like I've spun all the cities in the Bay. Like I'm kind of like, feel like I'm plateaued. And then I moved to Denver, and I didn't get as many gigs. Like it was really hard to network. And then the pandemic hit, and I'm like, damn, if you're gonna fuck up someone's motion, that's gonna be it, you know? So, and then, you know, I tried to figure things out. I tried streaming, which I have to give you props for, because I did it for like 3 weeks, and I just thought I couldn't be as consistent with it. And I wish, that's one thing like I wish I did, but I just started saying, you know what? Well, I'm not getting club gigs. I'm in this city pretty much by myself.
Denver, right?
Yeah, I'm in Denver. And I'm like, let me just make content. Let me just create DJ videos and like see what I can do with that. And I started making reels. Started TikTok, you know, wasn't as consistent with it. And then it was actually when you and I started talking. So, you know, post our full-time job that we worked together.
Yeah, and this is this was like either this year 2023 or like end of 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was something around that.
Like,
Yeah.
August of, because it was August. I came back from Vietnam, and we were talking like, well, I'm like, what's next, man? Like, what should I be focusing on? Like, what are some things I can do? And you were like, man, you should like really like double down on the content, because you were doing that like very consistently. And I was like, yeah, you know what, like let me get active on social media. And like it's hard, like being in front of a camera and like being able to like
Try to be like that.
Wait, I think I have a video
please
of
don't.
Nico
Please fucking
doing,
don't.
like content the other day, and I'm like, this is fucking hilarious, because no
about
one
it.
sees like the back scene, like the behind the scenes of it, and I'm just like, he looks hella funny. Oh wait, here it is. Look, hold on.
It's kind of silly, y'all. It's actually very silly when you look at it, because what ends up happening.
Okay, we have to post this clip too, by the way. Like,
No, literally, yeah.
Fine, we'll post the clip, but
Yeah.
let me explain, because like it's actually very silly. Like the music is basically only heard by you, and it might be only in your headphones, or you might have it on speakers. But either way, you're looking into a camera, you're like lipping the word, you know, you're lip syncing the words as much as possible. You're trying to look like you're entertaining like who? Like I don't even know who the fuck I'm entertaining right now.
Well, so you silently lip sync. Do you like actually sing it?
you know, that's when people ask me that, I don't actually. I'm like, you have to think about that for a second. Like the fact that you have like that view of Nico, like I can only imagine what I look like. Like my dog is probably like, what the hell is this guy
like-
doing? Just singing. And like the funny part too is like, I'm sure you have this as well. The outtakes are like the best. People should post their outtakes more, because
Oh my
Oh,
god.
wow,
I'm
that's
sure
a
they're
smart idea.
I'm sure they're hilarious. Like for me, like I'm so critical on like how it sounds.
Yeah.
So if I mess up, like I'll verbally say like, "Oh damn it, I messed up," and like it's just like a whole. If I can grab it, it's a whole bunch of me just like swearing at the camera, just like fuck. Yeah.
I think Nico, for you make like faces or you go like you just like fucking.
I just taught, and you know what's funny is that like I don't even make any noise because I'm like, even if I say anything, the camera's not gonna hear. So I'm just like,
literally, it's just him making a whole bunch of motions, and I'm just like, I'm just there, and sometimes I'm looking at him like, this is insane. This is actually insane.
It's content creation. I think I got a lot of it from just being on Twitch because like it's silly when you look at it from like if you're not on the internet. Like, what is this guy doing just talking on a mic and looking into a camera and who the fuck is he talking to?
Yeah.
Like, Jackie has so much footage of me, like, just doing that and no one can hear anything else that's going on except for me.
Especially in, like, the Twitch days, he would, like, wear his headphones because, like, obviously we share our wall with our neighbors. And he would have his headphones on and I just hear, like every other word of a song being said, and then I walk in and he's like body rolling. I'm like, I'm so confused right now. I'm like, if someone were to walk in here, they would be like, is he like on something
like, what the
right
fuck
now?
is
Like,
this guy doing right now?
It's like, Nico, dinner's ready.
Okay, you're like, never mind. He's doing his thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that though. Like, yes, it is silly and it's hard to do. Surprisingly, like, I feel like a lot of DJs don't do it. And it's it's so wild to me that like, you know, as we talk about like, you know, the trajectory for me, I've been DJing for 10 years and like I had 2,000 followers for damn near 9 years and 11 months. And then I finally, you know, broke 10 and I thought that was like the biggest thing, but it's really just because like people, like when do you get to showcase yourself?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Never. Like only the clubs you spin at, which is going to be at the same cities or wherever you're going to be at. So like, show the world what it is. I'll be honest, and I'm not trying to downplay anything that I'm doing. I'm mixing. I'm not trying to be super technical. I'm not like scratching. I'm playing songs that I think sound good together and they blend, which I think 90% of DJs do. So just why not show it off, you know? Like let people know the music selection you have, how you mix.
Yeah.
And it just puts you out there. And I think that's where it created a lot of opportunities for me.
Well, let me ask you this, bro. Like, how important is it for a DJ to create content in today's modern day?
It is, I'm going to say it is essential. Like you as a DJ, and this goes for any creative, you have to be your marketer, your social media manager, your graphic designer, like your styler. You have to do so much for yourself, right? And that's your advertisement for you, right? It's the stuff you put out on social media. Like everyone's on their phone. Who does not have a smartphone? Who is not on social media, right? And it's definitely, I'll tell you this, your target audience is. So definitely continue to do that. Like as a DJ, you have to. I think that's like outside of beat matching.
Yeah.
That's the next thing you got to do once you get that down is like build a presence.
Yeah.
Well, damn, I have beat matching down.
Yeah, Jackie.
And now you got to make videos. We got to switch it now. You got to guess Jackie lip syncing some songs.
Hey, I'm with it. I told her, I was like, hey, like, while I do some videos, you just transition the next song over.
No, literally, like, I've told Nico, I'm like, I think it'd be really, like, super dope because he's, like, sometimes, like, he's, like, playing video games or watching something, and I'm just, like, there, and I'm like, can I, like, try mixing? And he's just like, yeah. So he'll give me his laptop, I'll open up Serato, and then, like, he'll look at me, try and set it up, and if it's not working, I'm like, okay, I don't know where the fuck to connect something, like, and then I'm like, okay, and I have the headphones on, and he hears something, he goes, that was good. I'm like, okay, cool. I keep on going, he goes, this is what you did wrong. And I'm like learning, and I told him, I was like, wow, what if I get to a point where we just do a back-to-back set? And he's just like, I mean, it could be at that point.
That is dope. A couple back-to-back, like...
Well, I know Monica was talking to us, Cash 24, she was talking to us yesterday about like, yo, we need you and Jackie at No Pressure to do a back-to-back. I'm like, I'm totally down for that.
I did a 30-minute set at his song release. And
oh, sick.
Yeah, and I was literally like, going, and then like all the other DJ homies that were there, they were like, yeah. I was like, are y'all fucking with me, or is it actually good? They're like, no, it's good. So I was like, I know I could do 30 minutes, and I know that I'm pretty good at it. So yeah, I'm getting there.
You got Nico with you, like you guys are gonna kill it. Like that's dope. I want to. Can you record like your next set?
Yeah. I really was
Yeah, we
hoping
can do
that
it.
like because it was on Twitch too, and it was like everyone was commenting. I was like, I have a feeling everyone's just trying to be nice. And then Nico's like, no, you actually did really good.
I think the one thing about DJing, people I think will be brutally honest with you, because like singing is like, I guess that's kind of hard, because like, you know, like you don't want to tell someone that, oh, you're not singing too well.
Yeah.
Beat matching, like you could tell when someone train wrecks, and like it's very hard to look at someone train wreck and be like, you did so good.
I know. That's when you look back and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, or you just like, if everyone turns around and it's like, has that look, and you're like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. But everyone was turning around towards me, so I was like, fuck, wait, did I fuck up? I'm like, some like are looking at me kind of crazy, but then I was just like, I think I'm doing okay. So
I think you're fine, unless you see that.
Yeah.
Unless you get the Friday, like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, outside of that, you'd be solid.
I think but it is really fucking hard to be a DJ. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, like, especially when it comes to, like, content creation for being a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the older generation of DJs I know have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Like, they're constantly bashing this new generation of DJs. But what they don't understand is that you are that generation that has been doing it for 10 years. You've been doing it for 7 years. 7?
Yeah, 6-7 years.
7 years. And it's just like, I mean, you guys weren't doing content before, so what's the excuse for this older generation to not be doing that either?
Yeah,
you know?
I wanna shout out somebody from the old generation who's just killing it, and it's not necessarily content on like IG or TikTok, but it's content on Twitch. It's DJ Icy Ice.
Yeah.
And Icy Ice has just commanded people to just go to his events, and his events, Club Real Ones is just popping. And I'm just like, cool, like that's a different form of content that isn't like on Instagram or TikTok every day, but he's understood like my audience is here, so I'm just gonna keep on maximizing it on this particular social media platform, which is Twitch.
Yeah.
And guess what? People go to his fucking parties.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise. He gets fucking booked for just being him. Surprise. So
Yeah.
for you, Midas, like you've been doing crazy content. Like how have you seen like from maybe parties that you threw previously from Cozy to like now that you've just become a content machine?
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy, because from the gigs that I did before, right? Like, again, we're talking about club stuff, and everything is like, focused on the newest hits. Like, I feel like it goes hand in hand that I love throwbacks and R&B. So, I make the content for that. And it just kind of like, I think we were talking about like Cozy's growth in terms of social media, because I feel like everything is almost like it's like a flawless loop, right? Like I will make a reel about 5-6 songs that were like, super nostalgic for people, advertise an event coming up. I record that song in that mix being played at the live event, post it, and then it just kind of continues to grow itself, because people are not only hearing the music they want to hear on social media, then they'll go to the parties and be like, oh, I get to experience this now. Like how you're saying, like playing Alicia Keys, it is magical, because, hearing 300 people sing a song together, like that doesn't happen very often in a lot of like, we'll just say like, mainstream clubs.
Yeah.
So, I try to just make sure that it's like the social proof.
Yeah.
And like the music and the vibe, you're going to get what you expect, and it's going to be something great. So I just use that as the content like machine.
Yeah, it's hard though, because I think especially in this day and age where it's a double-edged sword, right? So you have people who are really good marketers on Instagram and TikTok, right? Like they will market their ass off. They will post like the craziest they'll post 20 songs in one fucking video, and I'm like, how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah.
Even to me, I'm just like, it doesn't sound the best, but it's still impressive.
Yeah.
Now I think if you are like a regular person who wants to go to, let's say, like a Cozy or like whatever party, right? And you see that DJ just go crazy on TikTok. I think the struggle right now, though, and I think this is where like the old heads get mad, is that when people are on these social media platforms and it's like boom, 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 and then they mix like that in real life, it's like, okay, I think there needs to be an understanding of like the way you mix on IG and TikTok should not be the way that you mix in real life.
But also too, I think it also like like the content. Yes, I think, and respectfully, I think anybody can like say, okay, I'm gonna mix these 4 songs and practice them and make it sound as good. But then the ones that are just the content creators and the ones who are content creators and actual DJs will weed themselves out.
Yeah. I hear that.
I think so too. And it's so funny you mentioned the thing about quick mixing.
Yeah.
Because people on my reels will be like, I hate to say this, but this is the older crowd. They'll be like, oh my gosh, like, can you play the full songs out? I was like, ma'am, do you want me to sit here for 5 minutes and play the entire 5 songs that I just played?
Instagram only allows 90 seconds of reels. Like, I don't know what you want me to do here.
I am Cap. Like, let's just be real honest here. That's not how I'm gonna DJ, because at that point, an hour set's gonna be like what? 100 songs?
Yeah. Which is like insane to hear.
Yeah, like so I always do my best to like view at what I played and say, oh, what song did I play? What transition sounded good? Guess how many songs I played in 45 minutes yesterday?
I feel like you didn't play. I respectfully don't think you played too much, because you played maybe like 4 or 5 songs out.
I want to say maybe like 20 to 25 songs.
I was going to range in like the 20 to 25 songs.
It's 30 exactly. And I figured that like, and I do this for all my sets. So I did it for Brooklyn. I did this one for LA. 45-minute sets, exactly 30 songs. And it's kind of crazy for me, because I'm like, man, like there's some songs, like you're right, like I'll play the full song out, and then there's some I'll just play like 30 seconds to a minute. So it's kind of like it's sporadic. It kind of changes, but it goes by fast though. Like,
oh, I was going crazy last night, and it wasn't even like the White Claws talking. You played Love by Kendrick Lamar, and I was like, oh, this is refreshing. I like this. I haven't heard this song live at a club, so this is cool.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it just went into Love by Keisha Cole. I'm just like, oh my God, that shit was insane. I was lit. This face I have right now, I was like, wow. Wow.
Here's the thing though that I have a question for you on is, you know, I'm doing this in different cities, which is a blessing, and I appreciate all my followers for making that happen. I struggle with telling myself, do I want this to be a completely different set, or do I kind of want to do the same songs and transitions? Because that Kendrick Lamar love and Keisha Cole love, I'll be honest, like
works every time.
It does. And as a creative, I actually talked to Jay Espinoza about this. I was like, at what point do you kind of put away those transitions and like, you know, kind of like, and he was telling me that like, you know, once you kind of record a mix and you post that, you kind of have to like stop it for a little bit, because I know when he did the Red Bull 3 style, he did this really cool ensemble of like a whole bunch of pianos and songs. And, you know, after that, I mean, that was like what, like 3 or 4 years ago, and he hadn't played it since. And then I remember I was talking to him and he said he did it again and he hadn't done it in so long. So I'm like, man, for anyone that if everyone followed me from each event, they'd be like, "Oh, he's gonna do the same transition." But it's
okay. Let's. I want to hear what Jackie has to say, because Jackie is at, let's just say, 90% of my events. I already know what you're gonna say.
Talk about it.
Okay, so I think that like it's refreshing to hear when I haven't heard it in a while. It's like, for me, like it took, because I obviously am with Nico and I go to his gigs and da. Now when I hear a specific song, I'm like, okay, I can record this because I want to see the crowd's reaction. But at the same time, like, fuck, like I know he has much more in the chamber that like isn't this. You know? I know that he just DJ'd at Rec Room recently. And you did that left-right.
Oh my God.
That left-right transition.
I felt like a fucking genius.
And it was like, I'd never heard it. He hadn't like been practicing it. It hasn't been content. And then I'm looking at his laptop. I'm like, oh fuck, like this is about to like sound so good right now. And he transitioned and with wordplay, and I was just like, this was fucking it. Like
it was.
And it went insane, but I was able to be present in that moment too. It wasn't like, I already know what he's going to play. And I gotta be hype, because I'm in trouble.
Smile, just smile.
Yeah, right.
Smile and be like, yeah.
The transition, I actually impressed myself. I felt like a fucking genius. But it was Soak City by 310 Baby. And then at the end of the song, he's like, left, right. I was like, because I thought of the song ahead of time, and I was like, oh, let me just loop this into left, right, and see what happens. And then as soon as I scratched it in, Jackie and Jake D, they were just both like, and I was like, I don't know. But those are the best, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think to answer your question, right? Well, let me get this off first. I think for a DJ, when you get stuck in the same routines, you start to get a little bit like brain dead to it because
Right.
you know it works. And then it's like a shot to the ego when you do it again, and then it's like, it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's kind of the
probably
worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you knew it worked and you're going to your go-to transition and it didn't do well, you're like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta go
And
back to the gym.
I feel like when DJs like do that same routine or whatever, it's just like you're limiting yourself so much that it's just kind of like, okay, well, because there are the people, because you guys have a following, because you guys throw your own parties, and there is going to be those like core followers that will go to several
Right.
events. And it's just like, okay, well, I want to keep them entertained. And am I going to be able to do that with the same transition?
Yeah. I think also to double down on your question too, like the beauty about, I was just talking to, I think Monica about this, but like the beauty about doing a party in different cities, that is actually the key right there to keep not only your audience fresh, but like you also as a DJ, if you know you have a fire transition like Love from Kendrick to Love Keisha Cole, Love to Love. If you have something like Love to Love, you could go to a different city and know like, okay, it is like 99% guaranteed that nobody has heard this before, so I can go ahead and do that. But if you go back to that same spot, however, or you go back to that same city, it's a 50-50 chance those people might come back.
Yeah, and it was to a point where Nico would like practice his transitions, he'd do his like wordplay and and I'd hear it at the club, and then I couldn't even listen to those songs without fucking hearing the transition. I'm like, okay, like, fuck, what was it?
It was smoking out the window and to blow the whistle.
Yeah, smoking out the window and to blow the whistle. And then I'm literally in my car driving. I'm like, I can't get this fucking transition out of my head. And I need it out of my head.
wait, that's actually kind of funny because you're literally listening to like Anderson .Paak saying like, singing like this R&B song. And in your mind though, you hear dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, I need this to get out of my fucking head. But whenever he does do something new, it's so refreshing.
It feels good. Like, I will say this, that I agree with what you were saying about, you have to push yourself and challenge yourself, because if you do the same transitions, you're kind of selling yourself short as a creative. And, sometimes, yes, it does feel good to like play that same transition is going to do well. But, for me, while it wasn't a transition, that Alicia Keys song, like, I always like, man, I want to play it, but I'm like, I don't know when's the right time to do it. Even at R&B party, I kind of psych myself out. I'm like, it's going to be kind of an abrupt transition. It's not going to, I don't know how it's going to be. And it was so dope. Like, I'm so glad I took that risk and just played it the way I did, because I think everyone they just went up, and I was like, okay, cool. This is what makes you happy to do it again, is because you take that risk. And hey, you may fuck up sometimes.
Yeah.
But man, that feels so good when it does it.
Bro, it feels so good when you get the whole crowd captivated on a song that you haven't played in a long time or in front of people, and you're just like, oh, this works.
And the
I'ma
great thing about
this.
DJing is that if it doesn't work, you can immediately mix out of it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, fuck, let me switch this shit up.
Well, I hate to say this, if you're a good DJ, there's some DJs where it's like, I was like, okay, this crowd is clearly not into it, and you're still playing this song.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
reverb out and just play the next one.
Just hard launch the next fucking song, dude. Hard launch it.
So I don't even know why I haven't asked you this, even off like camera. What is Midas?
That's a I don't think I've ever answered that on like an outlet like this.
Because
yeah.
Midas is not your last name.
No, surprise everyone. It's not my government name. Which people, it's funny, people will write out checks to me and then Anthony Midas, and I'm like, great, I can't cash this. Can you please put my real last name? But Midas was actually, so the story of Midas is a Greek mythology. It's the king that everything he touched turned to gold. And at first it's cool, but then if you really think about it, it's actually kind of sad because he couldn't eat anything. I think it was like he touched like his daughter and she turned to gold. So like it's kind of sad. But if you take that away, the Greek mythology is everything he touched turns to gold. And I was like, man, that's such a cool concept, right? And I was like, okay, you know what? Like that's a dope DJ name. Like everything I play will not turn to gold, but be a hit or be gold. And I couldn't do Midas because that was taken. There's like a DJ Midas. Shout out to whoever you are. That's trademarked. So I was like, okay, let me put my name on there because as I mentioned earlier, like I was into the whole like EDM thing, and EDM DJs put their full name, like Calvin Harris. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna put my government out there, but I'll just be Anthony Midas, and that's how it started. So
wow,
I love it. And you've been rocking with that for the whole time, all 10 years.
No matter what. And like it's funny, people, will see it, and I just love it when I hear Midas or just like a mispronunciation of it. Like I remember there was a DJ who I'm not gonna name, but they're hyping me up on the microphone, and the entire night they said, "Make some noise for Midas," and I didn't have the heart to correct them because like they were so into it. But after the show, I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's Anthony Midas," and they were like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's cool. It's the thought that counts. That you were just trying to hype everyone up." But yeah, that's how I got the name.
Or you would just put like the Hispanic like accent on it, Midas.
Yeah.
Midas.
Midas.
Say it was a Latin set, so you did it very well. You fit the theme.
That's hella funny.
We haven't even told everybody that Anthony is actually a Mexipino.
I am, yes. And that's why I thought it was a cool thing. I was like, when we talked about the interview, I'm like, Nico, like, what should I prep? He's like, just be yourself. And I was like, man, I'm actually going to be a guest on the Mexipino podcast, and I'm Mexipino.
You're the first Mexipino.
No way, the first one?
Yeah. The first Mexipino.
Well, what an honor.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be here.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about this the other day. Like, we're noticing a lot of Mexipino babies are actually younger than us, like actual like children, like 1-2 years old. When we've thrown the food fest, it's a whole bunch of babies, bro. And so when we looked at the grand scope of things, you're probably one of, I want to say, less than 10 actual Mexipino like products.
Yeah.
Babies.
Like, yeah, and like it's insane because like as we've like done this podcast, we have like the full Mexicans, full Filipinos, and everything in between.
Right.
But as we've like done these food fests, now like people come up to us and they're like, I'm Mexican, my husband's Filipino, or I'm Filipino, my wife is Filipino, or whatever, and this is our baby, and they put their baby in us, and we're like, oh, okay, like he's Mexipino. I'm like, awesome, this is so cool. It's like just like both of these cultures are so similar and also very different that it's just like so insane to see this mesh and like in real life too. It's insane. And
so for your experience as just a Mexipino person, like how was that for you growing up and in your household?
Yeah, I don't want to say it's easy because I agree. I think that both cultures there's a lot of similarities. And I don't know if it's just that like, obviously everyone's upbringing is different. I feel like my family was never really truly the either, we'll say typical Mexican or typical Filipino because our families are so small. I have one direct aunt on my mom's side.
Really?
Like blood. Like my mom has one sister.
And your mom is Mexican?
She's
or
Filipino.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost unheard of to have like I have two first cousins on that side. That's it. And,
wow.
And like, everyone's used to a big filled home. And like, granted, I had some other cousins, that would, come from like, my grandpa's side, but like it just, that was my only first ones. And like, I wasn't used to having like a really filled house. It was really just my immediate family. It was so small that like my cousins and my aunt, we all lived together. So it was my cousins, my aunt, me and my mom, and like we lived in the same house. Like,
wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So And you know, like my parents separated, and they're great. Like, you know, they're cool with each other. But like I grew up mostly with my mom, so I grew up only really knowing the Filipino culture, and it's challenging because my mom, so you know, they already were born in America, so they were the first generation. I think a lot of times like people our age are the first generations.
Yeah.
So they're already kind of built with the culture. I grew up pretty much knowing everything it was like to be American versus I kind of didn't have an idea what it was like to be Filipino or Mexican. They never spoke Tagalog. They never spoke Spanish. So it was really up to me to learn that. So in school, you know, a lot of my friends were both Mexican and Filipino. But it's when I went to college that I was like, man, I really need to tap into like, I mean, I'm two things. Let me tap into one culture at least and like figure out like what it has to offer. So I joined the Filipino club, Akbayan in San Jose. And, you know, I even went as far as like, I don't think a lot of people know this. There was a PCN, a Filipino culture night, and I was involved in it. So I did the bahag dance. For anyone that doesn't know what a bahag is, it's basically like this little cloth that just covers your private areas.
Oh, yeah.
God.
And I danced, and in front of like, I think it was like 1,000 people. And if that's one way to get tapped into your culture, I can't name anything else.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing.
Okay, so since you feel like you connect more with the Filipino side of you and what you are, do you check off Pacific Islander and Asian on your SATs?
You know,
or Hispanic or Latino?
Of Latin descent.
It was really hard because, you know, like as much as I was in tune with the Filipino culture, like a lot of my friends were still, you know, Latino, and like I still like, I love the Mexican culture that, you know, my family has. So I'd be torn. I would ask my teacher, like, can I check both? She's like, you have to pick one. So it's kind of,
that's so
damn,
crazy.
that's fucked. You have to pick one.
Like, no, I literally just thought of that. I'm like, well, fuck, there's no like box on like your SATs that say like mixed or anything like that.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of fucked up. But like it would either be like how I'm feeling, like, man, did I just get in an argument with my mom? And you know what? Filipino side's on timeout. I'm gonna check.
Hispanic,
Latino.
Oh no.
I know, right? It's like, but then if I actually like, if you really want to get to the nitty gritty of it, I am 50% Filipino because my mom's 100%. Technically, my dad is actually Mexican, Nicaraguan, and Lebanese.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
but he's
okay.
majority Mexican, which and that's you know the culture that like, you know, we grew up with. So that's why I say Mexipino, which it is, but it's like really like 80% Mexipino. And then 20%. But yeah, then ever since then, I was like, well, technically I am more Filipino. Therefore, if you're getting mathematical about it, shout out to the science major that I am, I'm technically more. So then I check Pacific Islander / Asian American, which I think can be a debate on its own because a lot of people still within the Filipino culture, do you pick Asian or do you pick Pacific
Nico
Islander?
says that he's Asian some days, other days he says Pacific Islander.
And you know
He's
what?
like, I pick and choose.
It kind of just depends on how I feel. If I have a little bit more of a 10, I'm like, cool, I'm a little bit more Pacific Islander today. You know what I'm saying? But like if I'm over at like a fucking like Korean barbecue, I'm like, I'm Asian today. You know what I mean? Like
Fucking
We're all family. We're all family today.
yeah, we watching some anime? All right, I'm Asian
Asian
today.
today.
And guess what? Me and Jackie are going to Hawaii like over the weekend. I'm going to be Pacific Islander.
I'm sick.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. It's funny because I think I treat it the same exact way. I was like, oh, I kind of want to be hanging, you know, with the Koreans and the Japanese today. So I'm Asian, y'all. Let's go.
I'm fucking sick. You're like looking at it, you're like, well, I'm having tacos tonight, so maybe I should have Latino. That's so fun. But
You
like,
know what would be even funnier? What would be even funnier if based off who you hang out with, Midas, you change your outfit based off who you're with.
that's
Oh,
how
So if you're hanging out with more Latinos, you dress a little bit more Latino. But if you hang out with Asians, you be like more animated out.
What do you get more? That you look more Hispanic or that you look more Filipino?
I get a lot. It's actually the Filipinos think I'm Hispanic, and the Hispanics think I'm Filipino, and it's always so crazy too because for those that like, if you are Hispanic and you do think I'm Hispanic, they will, like, I used to work at a bank, and I remember I would help out. The community was mostly Hispanic, so as soon as they saw me and they saw my name tag, which had my last name on it, which is Hispanic, they would speak to me in Spanish. And I'm sitting here as like a 19-year-old, like, no hablo español, lo siento. And like, it's so hard because like, yeah, again, growing up, my parents didn't speak to me in the languages. So I had to like learn on my own, which my Spanish isn't the best, but I went to Colombia and my friend with me didn't speak Spanish at all. So we survived. I was able to like,
Nice.
And Colombia too.
Yeah. And like that's not easy. That was pretty tough. So my Spanish is getting there. But anyways, like, yeah, I think I get a lot. Like, I think people just know for the most part that I'm mixed. I've gotten a lot of things.
Really?
Like, yeah, some people, like, they'll get specific too. They'll be like, you're Russian. And I'm like, what?
Russian?
That all indicated to you that I was Russian.
Well,
or, like,
a lot of people, it's kind of insane because my dad, so I'm a second generation. My dad was born here. My mom was born in Mexico, but my mom is more fair-skinned and my dad is darker-skinned. And it's funny because people will look at my mom too and they'll think she's Indian. Like people have actually come up to her and started speaking in Hindu. And she has to tell them like, no, I'm not. Sometimes I get Indian, sometimes I get Filipino. Rarely now. Whenever I'm with him, people just think I'm Filipino. They think he's the Hispanic one and I'm the Filipino one. And I'm just like, it's the completely opposite. Like, and I remember when I was younger too, like, a lot of people thought that I was like kind of like Filipino, and I got that a lot. And I was just like, and when I got older too, so I was just kind of like, man, okay, like maybe I should do a 23andMe. Like,
well, because also too, you were taking a Japanese class, you were hanging around a lot of Asians.
Yeah, I took a Japanese class in high school. I did 4 years of Japanese. So
dang, that's dope.
Yeah, my dad told me not to take Spanish because he's like, we already know Spanish. It's an easy A. So why are you gonna do an easy A? I'm like, okay, never mind.
So are you trilingual?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She's certified.
I have a seal of biliteracy on my diploma because of I took Japanese.
Okay, so bigger question. Do you watch with or without subtitles?
I watch with still. Yeah, but like
even English shit.
But yeah, even English shit. But like I like try and like whenever like he's watching something, or like when he got me into anime and I started watching Death Note, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm understanding, and I would try and challenge myself, like, don't look at the subtitles, but I still had to have it on because I was like, fuck, I don't understand like some of these, and they talk so fast on anime. I'm just like, okay, I can't keep up. But I mean, we're planning a trip to Japan next year, and I am so fucking excited that I'm just like, I'm fully prepared to not come back to the States. Like,
it's dope. I had an 18-hour layover. I didn't even get to like really be in Japan for a full 24 hours, and I had the time of my life. Like,
that was before you went to Vietnam, right?
This was actually before I went to Indonesia.
Okay.
So I went to Indonesia for vacation, and then there was a layover. And I'm like, man, 18 hours, like, let's go to Tokyo and like check it out. So, we went to Shibuya Crossing, we went to Harajuku, like we just checked out all the cool places there. And I was like, do we have to go to Indonesia right now? Like, can we just stay in Japan? Because like it's literally like people talk about like even the vending machine food is amazing.
Yeah.
Which it is. People are so kind, so nice. Like things are punctual. The public transportation is insane. It's so efficient. It's clean. It's fast. I'm like, man, everyone needs to take notes. Japanese people, like, man, sorry, Mexicans and Filipinos, they do. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
They got to figure it out.
Yeah, you're going to have a great time.
No, literally, like, I'm so excited. I just can't wait. And, like, we're planning. So, Nico's been to the Philippines earlier this year, literally at the beginning of the year. And he wants to go back and he wants to take me. So, what we're going to do is do, like, a week in the Philippines in December of next year and spend like the week, I think Christmas there.
Yeah, Christmas with my family.
We're gonna spend Christmas with his grandparents because his grandparents go for like 4 months at a time.
Nice.
And then New Year's week, we're gonna go and spend New Year's Eve in Japan. So.
Oh my gosh, New Year's Eve in Japan must be insane.
Shoot, we don't know. We're gonna find out next year.
We'll report back.
Please let me know how that goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be freaking insane. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts. What would you say is like your ultimate goal as a DJ, Midas?
Ooh.
That's a good question. For me, I want my like the most immediate goal that I have for myself that will be like you did it, man. Is before I wanted to perform at a festival. Now I want to throw my own after doing event planning.
Lit.
Yeah, so Cozy Fest is something that will be happening. That's my, I'm manifesting it, but that to me is like my ultimate dream is to throw a festival. I think that playing it that's also up there. I think for every DJ, that's like the biggest stage you can do, other than like the Super Bowl, as a festival. Which I don't think was there ever a DJ on the Super Bowl?
Shoot, I don't know. I mean, they just have people like Beyonce and Shakira.
Yeah, it's all like actual. Yeah. Sorry, DJs. Not that you're not actual artists, but like singers and songwriters. Performers. Yeah,
they haven't had like a Zed or like a Calvin Harris.
So like, I guess maybe that's always good to be ambitious and be the first DJ at the Super Bowl. But definitely throwing my own festival is up there for me as like a dream.
That'd be lit, bro. Because I love the R&B festivals. I mean, are you planning to make it like an R&B festival?
I think right now I want to say yes, but I also want Cozy to be more than just R&B at some point, because I think R&B music is fantastic and it's the great foundation to what it is. But I think as long as it's music that people can sing and just feel really good to and vibe, I don't want to just limit it to R&B, because eventually, like, sometimes like maybe I feel like playing house.
Yeah.
I think it's like a lot of people now don't want to like fucking rage, they just want to be in a happy environment.
Well, and you know what, it's interesting because clubs were like super duper popping right before the pandemic. They were going nuts, but now like I think what happened is that a lot of people got smarter about their money and how to spend it outside. A lot of people are a lot more like conscious about their physical health. So I never really see anybody like grinding like crazy like how they used to back in the functions, like, and she's looking at me crazy right now.
I'm fucking sick. No, because I was just trying to see like what you were gonna say, but I get you.
But no one's going like, it's not, the clubs aren't as grimy as they used to be. And I think a lot of it comes back to the pandemic, where people started to become more physically conscious about their health. People don't want to spend too much money, and people are in some small way still recovering from the pandemic. So they're naturally attracted to stuff that makes them feel happy.
Which is crazy to say that was 3 years ago. It's like, it does feel like a long time, but also too, like, it was such a huge transition for everyone. So I agree, because even for me, I consider myself a very outgoing person. I love talking to people. I love being around people. And when the pandemic kind of forced me to be by myself, I was like, dang, I actually kind of like this. Like, I'm okay with not being outside talking to like a group of like 10, 20, 30 people, having all these conversations, which I love networking. I love talking to people, but I have a battery too, and it gets hard to like, talk about sometimes what you consider most monotonous things, and, get those deep conversations. Now that's what I cherish. I love seeing people and talking to them, but I care more about like, how am I feeling? Am I in a good place? And,
what you want to put your energy into too. Yeah.
And I want that to be that, like, I want to be able to like be with people and say like, you know what, I feel really good. And I want to take this time to like know you better and talk about things that like matter for you. And I think that requires a lot of effort to make that happen, because you can always just be super transactional. And that's what I learned from the pandemic. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be someone where it's just like, oh, like, how was your gig last week? And like, I want to talk about like, like, hey, how's the podcast going? What's the next event you got going up? Like, what makes you excited this year? Like, that's what I want to have more of.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the DJs did build camaraderie over the past couple of years. And I think it was specifically because of the pandemic. Like, a lot of us, we figured, we get to relate to each other. Like, I don't think I would have known you if it wasn't for the pandemic, 100%. Right? Because we didn't even know about each other prior to like 2019.
Yeah. I think I remember like when I first saw you, I think someone like reposted like a video of you. And like DJs, I'll just be honest, like DJs are always looking like, who's this? Like, who's this DJ coming up on my timeline when I should be my friend's only DJ, But like, I agree with you. I think that it's so important that DJs do build that community, because I feel like a lot of times people view it as competition.
Yeah.
And in some ways it kind of is, right? Like, a club or event will only have so many DJs you can fit. But I feel like people always like fight for it. And we were talking about this, the old head mentality. And like, me personally, I safely say that like, I know a lot of DJs, but I don't consider a lot of them friends. Like, I do for you and some others, because I feel like a lot of DJs don't really have that mentality of like, hey, let's build together. Let's do something together. I mean, like, you're actually like I mean, I've had some great DJs in my life that have like contributed to like my success. But I remember like you were the first one that like were like, dude, we should make a reel together, because everyone at the time was just like doing their own reels, which is totally cool. But then you were like, yeah, let's do one together. Like we're both creating content that's just like hitting the target audience. Like let's do it. And even to this day, like I still don't see that happen as much, you know. And I just kind of wish people
not even
would.
at all, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys did that when you guys did that content together, I think that was such a brilliant idea. And then, but literally, you guys are the only ones that do it, you know?
Yeah.
Unless there's like sibling DJs, you know,
Right.
then that's like, that's the other exception. But outside, then you guys are the only ones that do it.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to say this too. Like, I think at that time, like, our follower difference was like, it was significant for the time, because I had like maybe 20 and you were like, what, at like 2,000, 3,000, right? And I was just like, well, I want to help you out, even if it's like dragging my audience to you. I mean, now you've just like super eclipsed like everybody, which is great. And I'm super happy about that for you, bro. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, it just goes to show that like collaborating with friends, right? And the consistency is going to take you so much farther than anyone can imagine.
And that's to me the most important thing, is because you're right. Like I did only have 2,000 followers, and like you weren't like, this guy got 2K, I can't have him in my video, it's gonna make me look bad. You know what I mean? Like you said, like, no, like we'll collaborate, you'll be in there. And you know what? Like shout out to you. I did gain followers from that, you know? And I think that's the cool thing about that, is because you view it as an opportunity to collaborate. Because here's what happens, right? We do events together, and now we're still capturing that same audience. And instead of us being like, oh man, I can't get Nico to come, like he's gonna take followers from me. It's like, no, we're gonna do an event together and grow together, you know? So yeah, it's a big thing. And like, I really wish DJs would do that more, and hopefully they will, because, you know, I think the Bay Area does a really good job at that. I think all DJs know of each other and support each other for all the events. I can't speak for any other city, but hopefully, you know, all DJs are keeping that mentality and like tagging that. And not even just DJs, like I think a lot of small brands too, because something that I noticed that you do is, you know, you work with like small companies, whether it's like a clothing company, a food company, whatever it is. And it's so important to use your channel to like get their name out there. Like for example, like, you know, I'm plugging this, but like it's true. This hat that I have from Nonetheless, I met them. I did like an interview with them, and they're the coolest people in the world. They're a small Bay Area company, but you know, they have a mission statement, and you know, they have a kid. They talk about the whole story about like, oh, this was inspired by like my daughter. Like there's a shirt that I had, and I was like, that's so cool. So when I post videos, like, yeah, they're giving me dope clothes, but I'm like, I'm tagging them because I want people to also see that. So it's like, use your outlet to really push those small people, because that 2,000 person following, that wouldn't have happened, and my growth wouldn't have happened. I'm not able to do Cozy had it not been for people taking a chance like you on me, you know? So everybody do it. Focus on people.
Hell yeah. And you got to remember, his name is Anthony Midas. So if he touches your clothing, it's going to turn to fucking gold. You know what I'm saying?
If you're about that too, like,
I'm sick.
Midas, what do you have planned for 2024? Cozy or just anything?
I think for me, Cozy's definitely on the forefront. I want to expand into more cities because, you know, shout out to my following. They once they see, you know, you're in LA, how come you're not coming to X, Y, and Z city? So that's how my followers talk. They all talk like this. No, but like I do want to go to other cities. I have Austin in the works, which I got to DJ before, and it's a great place. I do want to go to Seattle. I want to capture, you know, other countries. So Philippines is definitely up there. You know, fun fact, even though I am Mexipino, I have not been to the Philippines. So
You'll get there.
Yeah, I definitely.
I'll make a call.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Apparently I went to the Philippines when I was 3. So my mom's always like,
don't count.
You've been there. I was like, Mom, stop acting like that. That makes me like,
I literally don't remember.
yeah, like, no, like, did I even have a passport? Like, what did I even look like? What? So, yeah, that's my goal. And, you know, I think traveling is also up there too. So like going to the Philippines, I would love to go to Nicaragua and see, like, you know, my upbringings there. I think that's very important for me. I've been very like on this journey to like keep self-discovering. So I think one of the best ways to do that is to travel.
That's dope.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so excited for you all and the Philippines and the Japanese tour. It's gonna be dope.
Well, shoot, I'm excited for you, bro, and everything that you've accomplished so far, and everything that you will continue to accomplish well through the rest of this year, 2024 and 2025, and
So on and so forth.
2030s, 2040s, 2050s, all that shit. Anthony Midas, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for
with
being on the
us.
Mexipino podcast, man.
This was dope. Thank you guys.
No, of course.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna have to do a part 2, 100%. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Sometime next year.
Sometime next
Sometime
year.
next year.
I mean, I'll be honest. I talked about this on the microphone. Right now, I was a little turned up, but LA, I think, really might be the next place I go to once my lease ends in March.
I hope so, bro.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I think there's a lot of good things out here, and that's just because I'm from here. So
Yeah. There's a lot, bro. There's a lot. My name is Nico Blitz.
I'm Jackie Ramirez.
And I'm Anthony Midas.
And this is the Mexipino podcast.
Adios.
Peace out.
Coming from an actual Mexipino.